There's been a nearly 40% increase in Easter road deaths compared to last year. 255 people died on South African roads this year. 44% of the recorded deaths were pedestrians, while passengers accounted for 27% and drivers 25% respectively. Transport Minister Sindisiwe Chikunga released the statistics earlier today. She reiterated that road safety is a collective national responsibility. Minister Chikunga joins me via Zoom for more. Thank you so much, Minister, for your time this evening. It certainly is a sharp increase in deaths. What do you think we can attribute that to?
I think to quite a number of factors. First, I think we had a plan that we were implementing. And I think for the first 3 days, we did well. In fact, 2 days we did well. For instance, on Thursday, we were at 11.4%, when in 2022, we were at 13.4%. So we're very happy about that, even if we didn't want to see any death. I'm talking about crashes here. And then on Friday, we're at 30.6%, and this in 2022, and this year we're at 24.9%. Things changed on Saturday, when crashes accounted for 22.7%, when in the previous year we were 21.6%. We did well on Sunday. Again, we recorded lesser crashes at 19.5%, when we were at 23.1%. Monday was the worst day for us, because suddenly on Monday we recorded 21.6%, and then of course when the previous year we were at 11.2%. However, even if this is how we performed when it comes to crashes, but with the fatalities, these were more even on Thursday than they were in 2022. For instance, on Thursday we had up to about 25 fatalities, when we were at 19 in 2020. So this is what happened throughout with the fatalities. And like I'm saying, if you look at the days on which we did exceptionally bad, it will be your Saturday and Sunday as well. And it, as you have indicated, the number of people that died on those days were pedestrians, accounting for 44.4%. And this is a challenge, because in the main, you will focus on your main routes because people will be traveling. Of course, there were more vehicles and more traffic this time around than it was the previous years. And I want to believe that the impact of lockdown was still felt by people, and therefore they were not keen to move. But now they were moving in big numbers, and therefore there was more traffic. However, we could have done better. The Monday pile-up accident in KZN just worsened things for us, hence the figures that we have.
So, as you rightly said there, we saw a number of incidents where a single incident involved multiple vehicles, multiple fatalities. What does the ratio look like comparatively of the numbers of vehicles to the number of incidents when we compare that to last year? I mean, you've already said that there were more vehicles on the road, but when we do those comparisons of numbers of vehicles to numbers of accidents, do we have those kind of figures?
I think the figures are available. We can actually provide them. I may not necessarily have them here now. However, with the figures that we have of cars that passed by our toll plazas, definitely they are far more than what they were last year. However, I did not bring here with me the the figures for the previous year. Yeah. So I can't answer that one for now. However, that is very true. Of course, even with the figures, we could have done better. Let me say that. I still believe that even with the previous ones, it's not, as a matter of fact, what we can therefore accept. But any increase is even worse, no matter what the reasons are, no matter what the conditions are. The accident that happened in Pietermaritzburg is also attributed to weather. And many of the accidents that might actually have happened can be attributed to weather. However, if you look at the factors that may in fact contributed to our accidents, 96% of those are human factors. That will be speeding, that will be driving under the influence of alcohol, that will be reckless overtaking, that will be hit and runs that actually are responsible for the 44% of the pedestrians. And all that, it talks to reckless driving, carelessness of drivers and motorists. That probably talk to, again, whether people who get driving license fraudulently and in the manner that is corrupt are on the road driving and possibly responsible for some of the accidents that we are seeing.
Minister, I completely get what you're saying about reckless driving. But if we look at the high number of pedestrians that have been killed on the roads, surely we also need to place more focus on pedestrians being responsible on the roads. I can only imagine the devastation caused to a driver following the rules of the road when someone crosses the highway, which they're not allowed to do, is in an accident, possibly ends up killing other people other than themselves, and yet we see this happening on a daily basis. Where are we getting in terms of perhaps a mass rollout campaign to speak to pedestrians when so many people in South Africa don't have their own vehicles, are reliant on foot, travel or on public transport?
In fact, we tried even this time around to move from our main roads to residential areas. But the challenge of abuse of alcohol here in South Africa is actually impacting on our work as well. Because the majority of these people that are hit by cars, and I fully agree with you, that you're driving your car, you're not speeding, but of course you are driving. Here is somebody falling onto the road drunk. You therefore suddenly you are in an accident. That is a problem. Indeed, I think we still have to heighten that one, to focus on pedestrians. We definitely did try to embark on that one. We did have traffic officers in residential areas, but of course they can only be here and be there, and they cannot be everywhere. What we also have said to RTMC is that with the statistics that we have, can we identify hotspots where more of these pedestrian accidents happened, so that we can look at what possibly is the feature of those or features of those hotspots? I can tell you, where you see a tavern and a road and residential areas across the road, for sure that will be the area where there are accidents. And sometimes it's very difficult day and night to have a traffic officer there. But I think it's areas that we need to look into and engage our counterparts, particularly our municipalities, that maybe when they appoint and they approve liquor outlets, they also consider the fact that they are not along the roads, because indeed they are very costly for us. However, I think also it is important that we think and extend our gratitude to many South Africans who were on our roads, who obeyed the rules of the road, and actually arrived alive. If you think about the Pietermaritzburg one, people were standing there for hours, patiently so. But after, when they were able to move, they still were able to observe and to obey the rules of the road. I think we've got to extend that one. But also our condolences to families that lost their loved ones. I think in that Pietermaritzburg accident, one family lost 3 members. I can imagine how painful that is. And we extend our heartfelt condolences to them. There are quite a number of people that are in hospitals with serious injuries. Some, they will be in hospitals for ages, and we wish them a speedy recovery, and the families, for them to give support to those injured victims.
Thank you so much for that update, Transport Minister Sindisiwe Chikunga. And we have to acknowledge as well that where we see challenges and these sad numbers, they point to opportunities for improvement, and hopefully we'll see that in the days and weeks to come, and as we look to those festive periods throughout the rest of the year when we expect more traffic on the road.